Hello, everybody. We are going to add and subtract rationals. Now, reason adding and subtracting is after multiplying and dividing, because with fractions, adding and subtracting is usually worse because you have to have common denominators, where when you're multiplying and dividing, you can pretty much just do anything you want. So you got your three rules here. Not a whole lot to worry about on the first few questions because we have like bases. So rewrite the problem with a common denominator, combine the numerators. We're ready to do that because we have the same denominator. And that gets us 18a over 4a squared. Just like any adding of fractions, you don't add the denominators. And then you have to simplify what's left. So a with a squared, 2 goes into 18 and 4. You're left with 9 over 2a. It seems all fun and nice right now, but it gets weird. So we're subtracting. Now, when you're subtracting fractions, you probably want to think of it like this, because you have to subtract all of 7x minus plus 2, so the negative sign goes to both of them. So that's 9x minus 7x is 2x, 12 minus 2 is 10 over 16. Now, since you can factor out a 2x plus 5 over 16, that becomes an 8. And I don't feel like rewriting tonight. X plus 5 over 8. Okay, now it gets a little fun. Even though we still have the same denominator, some things are going to happen because Rule 2 says combine the numerators, simplify the remaining expression. When something says simplify, they really mean simplify. Um, so we're adding here. We got y squared plus 10y. Well, that's bad. Y squared plus 10y plus 21 over y squared minus 9. Now, in the last lesson, I told you guys, please, please, please avoid the desire to start canceling out just this y squared with that y squared. It doesn't work. So how do we continue on this if we have to simplify it? You guessed it, we have to factor it. So the numerator factors into y plus 3, y plus 7. All over, and yes, we factor the difference of squares, conjugate pairs, y plus 3, y minus 3, and cancel, answer. Continuing. Oh, yes, we're going to be using that trick from the last lesson here too. Once I combine this, 1 minus 16a squared over, let's take a 3 out of that right now, 3 parentheses 4a minus 1. Okay, so we've got that little situation right here, like we did in the last lesson, where you can factor out a negative parentheses 16a squared minus 1 over 3, 4a minus 1, 3 times 4a minus 1. And again, just like that last lesson, you can pretty much guarantee that there's going to be some canceling happening here. So when you take 16a squared minus 1 and factor, you still have that negative sign. That's 4a plus 1, 4a minus 1 over 3 parentheses 4a minus 1. Those cancel. Sorry. And that's your answer. Negative 4a plus 1 over 3. Okay. Next. Okay. We've got a subtraction. All right. So we still want to think that. So n squared minus, there's nothing over there, n squared. 3n minus n is plus 2n. Negative 7 minus 1 is negative 8. And that's over n squared plus n minus 6. These both factor, numerator factors into n plus 4n minus 2, n plus 4, n minus 2 over, that one factors into n plus 3, dang it, n plus 3, n minus 2, cancel our answer. I'm going to write it off to the side. N plus 4 over n plus 3. Try a different color. This one's kind of weird. Oh gosh. Sorry for that reaction, but it's deserved. 13k squared plus k squared is 14k squared. Negative 9k plus 2k is negative 7k. All right, so kind of like last time. I'm going to take out a 7k this way. I know I've still got the numerator to deal with, but I kind of want a hint. So just to kind of teach you some manipulation techniques that you can sometimes make things easier at 2k minus 1. So my thought is, again, referring to last unit, I'm kind of got this feeling that there's going to be a 2k minus 1 in the denominator, so I don't have to work as hard here. So if I think it's 2k plus 1 over here, then to get a plus 1, well, to get a 6k squared, this has to be 3k. And to get a plus 1, wait, rewind. Y'all are probably already correcting me. Here we go, 2k minus 1. I think it's going to be 2k minus 1. And so then that makes this 3k minus 1. I know my first and last are the right thing. So negative 1 times 3k is negative 3k. Negative 2k is negative 5k. So kind of anticipating patterns, especially when you're just starting something. Usually you're going to have something cancel, and we do. And so my final is 7k over 3k minus 1. Okay. Where am I? I'm 8 minutes in. All right, I messed up, so I had to rewind and start recording over again. All right, so my common denominator is 6x. 2x goes into 6x 3 times. 3x goes into 6x 2 times. And that's kind of what we want to do here. You've got to look at these two things as completely separate fractions. So how do I make 2x into my common denominator? If I multiply it by 3, 3 times 2x is 6x. Well, I have to balance the numerator. And so 3 times 15 is 45 minus. To make 3x into 6x, I need to multiply it by 2 over 2. 3x times 2 is 6x. And so 2 times 16 is 32. And so I end up with, now that I've done my common denominator, just like when you added fractions at the beginning of your math careers, you just add and subtract the numerators and keep the now common denominator. Just like we did above, we just had to get them there. So 45 minus 32 over 6x. What you really have, I should probably put this, 45 over 6x minus 16 over 6x. Maybe I'll do it that way from here on for a while. And that gets me 32. And that gets me 13 over 6x. All right, so over here, what would my common denominator be? The highest value of the variable and the least common multiple of 8 and 1. So my common denominator is 8a squared. I really wish we were together for this, because this is probably, to me, in my opinion, the most complicated of the units that we do in Algebra 2. Okay, so I need to make 4a over a squared into 8a squared, and that would mean multiplying it by 8 over 8. 8a squared right here. 8 times 4a is 32a. In order to get this denominator to look like my common denominator, I need to multiply it times a. And so that's minus 7a. Now that we've got our common denominators, we can just very easily and very quickly call that 25a, because 32 minus 7 is 25, over 8a squared. I still have to simplify now. 25a, 8a squared. My final is 25 over 8a. Okay, that's page 1. I'm not going to have nearly enough time to finish this. So, as usual, part 2.